So we got a Mushoku Tensei Season 2 trailer early this morning, and as you just saw, you saw Ruere. We also got a key visual, and as you all know, Mushoku Tensei, it holds a very special place in my heart, and so I want to take a few moments out of my day to kind of talk about, the new footage we got, and kind of just how this series looks in general, but also a new director that is going to be taking charge of Season 2 Part 2. So let's get into this, PV trailer. So for the most part, like the first, I say 30 seconds of this trailer is pretty much just a recap. Like, if you go through it, it just recaps, the first half of Season 2, and a little bit of Mushoku Tensei Season 1, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, because we gotta think about this. Season 1 of Mushoku Tensei, it came out years ago, technically, at this point, like 2 to 3 years ago, and, Season 2 came out last year, and, it's been a while, it's been a few months, a lot of things have happened, a lot of different animes come out, and not everybody, obviously, is going to forget everything, but, having a preview, kind of doing a little bit of a recap makes a little bit of sense when you factor in that most likely they're saving, a really good long PV trailer for Anime Japan, and let's talk about that first. So basically, as we know, Mushoku Tensei is going to be having, its own little session, a panel, so to speak, at Anime Japan in March of this year, alongside of ReZero. And since we know that the anime is set to air in April, in April 2024, on the 7th, we know for a fact that, when we get like some form of stage play, like a trailer or whatever in March, it's going to probably be a more fluid trailer that's probably going to reveal the opening and ending song and give us just a really good sneak peek of what to look forward to for the second half of Season 2. So them being a little bit more restrained in holding back for this trailer, for instance, having like the first 30 or so seconds being basically a recap, is completely fine, because most of the time when it comes to, let's say, anime teasers or PVs, they're like 30-40 seconds long, and it's just, a few frames. And technically, when you think about, like, what this trailer is, if we cut out the recap, it's about a 30-second to 40-second new footage that we get within this video. So the complaints overall for those that are saying that this trailer is a little bit bad because it's just recap, clearly, don't understand that most of the time we only get like 30-second trailers. So it's not a bad trailer. It's just, they probably pieced it together because they just wanted something longer, to fit over a minute long, and like I said, they're being reserved for Anime Japan. But let's actually get into the footage that we got with this PV trailer. So we get, you see actually Rudy's little sisters. We get to see Norn and all that, Aisha, and just, it kind of goes to show how many years have passed since, like, the events of Season 1, because we know there was quite a few year time skip, and then seeing them kind of look a little bit more olderish in this moment, it shows that, yeah, time has passed. There is that gradual, ever-flowing of time within this story, and it's one of the big aspects that, I really appreciate from Mushoku Tensei, and I think a lot of people, that really have watched this show really appreciate, is that, the characters, they do age, they grow, they get taller, they get older. It's nice because it's like you grow with the story. The characters grow with their character development, and also seeing characters like Ruere as well, it also just makes you very happy. And I'm glad to see him as well, because he's a fan favorite character. He's one of my favorite characters, honestly, in all of Mushoku Tensei. And seeing his appearance within this PV trailer, it made me so happy. And I know those that are anime only, soon as they saw this, they're like, my boy, he's finally back. Because, the last time we saw him, was the end of Season 1. And it was such a somber, sad note, technically, with Ruere walking away and leaving Eris and Rudy behind. Because, it was the end of a journey. And it was not something you normally see often within stories, a journey's end. And so seeing Ruere, just leaving them behind because he completed his goal, the destination, he got him back home, it was sad. And, years have passed now, and seeing that, the characters are much older, and Ruere just kind of popping up, it's like, oh, wow, maybe we might get to see maybe an update status with Eris as well. But, it's nice to see Ruere. I'm just glad to see that he was snuck into this PV trailer. I did not expect to actually get that, but clearly we did. We also get a lot of stuff going on with just, like, Rudy and Sophie, and I think that this is a very important moment, because FYI, to remind those of the events of the end of the first half of Season 2, Rudy and Sophie, they married. They actually got together. They fully, are now going to be living together. And I think this whole point here with this conversation and everything, this whole little movement here while they're journeying, all that to a house, it's implying that they live together now. They have their own little home. They are actually living a married coupled life. It's a cute moment. It's cute, adorable, and honestly, it's one of the big things I really loved from looking and reading the light novel is actually seeing a character being able to get with someone. Because it's so many times within stories where a character, will never get with his romantic partner, someone that he has romantic feelings for, until like the final chapter, or the final book or whatever. And I'm glad to see that, it's very early on. Like, obviously it's not early in Rudy's second life here, but it's very early on in the story. Because the contents, I believe, of this story right now, I believe is covering volume 10 and volume 11. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I believe it might be volume 9 too. I don't know. It's one of those volumes. But anyways, the point of the matter is that we got a nice little sneak peek of what to expect. And I think that everybody that, is a Mushoku Tensei fan is probably very happy with this PV trailer, unless you're, really upset with the recap. Now, talking about this key visual that also came out, there has been definitely some conversation about Rudy's character design and the direction going forward, and I want to take a few moments to talk about that, because it is pretty important. One of the biggest complaints that, the first half of Season 2 got was that Rudy did not look his age, because FYI, it was quite a few year time skip, and Rudy is much older now. He's in his teenage years now. He's no longer a kid anymore, but the way he is presented in some of, the designs, at least for the first half of Season 2, he did look still kiddish, which, yeah, he's a teenager, but he didn't look as mature as some of the, let's say, the visuals within the light novel, made him look like. And so people have had honest complaints about that, but it's very minor. I don't think it's anything that really takes anything away, but it is a complaint, nonetheless. And looking at this key visual, I do think that some might still have a complaint about his overall design, that he still looks kind of young, but I think that actually his posture, and I don't know, the way his hair is drawn, does make him look a little bit older than he was. There's just something about it. I don't know exactly. I can't pinpoint the exact thing or detail here, but he does look a little bit older than he normally does. Now, one thing I do want to say, if there's anything that does need to be changed for Rudy, it's honestly the VA. Now, hear me out. The VA for Rudy has done absolutely fantastic work for the character since Season 1, but Rudy is older now, and his character needs to evolve, and his voice needs to mature. He is a much older individual now. He's went through puberty and everything. He should definitely, have a more deep voice. And I really hope that the second half of Mushoku Tensei Season 2 does change his VA. Not because I want the VA to be gone, like the original, because I like the VA, but there needs to be some gradual shift in the tone and the voice. That's my personal 2 cents. Now, besides that, we also got a little bit more of an update that there is going to be a new director, and this was a big complaint that a lot of people had as well, is that, with Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 1, the new director that came in, people were a little bit upset because it felt like the very shift or flow of Mushoku Tensei's thoughts or feelings or emotions it gave was no longer the same. And the new director seems to be, from the community's reaction, more of a positive thing, and seems to be a director that people actually want, that will put Mushoku Tensei back on track, at least from its original vision of Season 1. So, time will tell if that's actually true or not, but that was something I do wanted to mention, because I saw people actually talking about that earlier today. But, yeah, overall, Mushoku Tensei, I'm glad to have this PV trailer. It's absolutely beautiful. It's very simple, but I'm glad to see an early look. It's not something I expected to get. I did not expect to wake up this morning to, new footage or whatever, but here we go. We got more footage, and, I'll take what I can get. So, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy Mushoku Tensei as much as I do leave me a like. It does help me out a lot. And with that, Chibi out.